Hi everyone, welcome to Think IAS. We are here again with the history series in which we were studying class 12th history chapter Kings, Farmers and Towns. In the early video we have learned about how with the help of inscriptions, coins and contemporary works we come to reconstruct the lineages about the dynasties and empires, and we learn about Mauryan Empire and their administration. Today we will be doing more about history. Let's move ahead. So, first of all, we are talking about the notion of kingship. So, here, kings and chiefs in the south were introduced. They emerged in Deccan and the south of as chiefdoms of Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas in Tamilkam, that is the part of present Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. And the chief was not a king, but he was a powerful man whose position can be a hereditary, and his function was like performing special rituals, leadership in warfare, and arbitrating the disputes. He used to receive gifts from his subordinates and he used to distribute them among the supporters. Because he was not having any regular army or any officials, that's why we cannot call him a king, but he was a chief. So in early Tamil Sangam text, we saw that some poems were there to describe how the chiefs how they use and acquire and distribute the resources. Many chiefs and kings like Satvahans, they ruled over the parts of western and central India. Similarly, Shakas, they were the people from Central Asia origin, and they established their kingdoms in north western and western parts of subcontinent. They derived their revenues through the long distance trade. Now we have to learn about divine kings. So there was a myth that those who have high status, they will be identified with the variety of deities name. So there were Kushanas. Uh, they used to think that they are uh, godlike, or they are someone who is very high status person. So what they used to do, they form a colossal statues in shrine of Mat near Mathura in Uttar Pradesh. Similarly, in the shrine of Afghanistan, and they used to call themselves as Devputra, that is son of God. And it was inspired because of the Chinese rulers who called themselves as son of heavens. So we come to know about these Kushanas due to the inscriptions and textual traditions. Later, some empires like Gupta Empire, they were dependent on Samantas, the people who were locally powerful people and they have some resources under them like land. And these Samantas, they used to offer homage to the kings and they provide military support to them whenever it was required. So the history about these Guptas, we come to know about them with the help of literature, coins, and inscriptions, including the Prashastis. Now, Prashastis is something which was there for the kings, and it was written by poets to praise the king. So, one example of this Prashasti is Pragya Prashasti, which is there in Allahabad pillar inscription. It is written in Sanskrit by Harisena, and he was the poet in the court of Samudragupta, the very powerful king from Gupta dynasty. Now we have to see how people think about king and what was the perception about kings. So we have understood that to know about any kind of empire or any dynasty, we have to just go through the inscriptions and coins. We will get some information regarding them. But what ordinary people think about them and how they experience these kings, it was not mentioned anywhere. To know about these experiences, we examine the stories contained in the anthologies such as Jatakas, which was written in Pali, and in Panchtantra, and they gave us some idea about the thoughts and experiences what ordinary people were feeling. So there is one story of Ganda Tindu Jataka, in which it was showing that people were very uh, sad and they were cursing the king because they were not happy with the king, and they were robbed by the people and they were robbed by the tax collectors also. So this was the relationship between king and the people, this story is showing. So these people who were attacked by robbers and tax collectors, they have only two choices if they want to come out of this misery. One, they can go to the forest and live there for whole of their life, or else they have to increase the production to increase the uh, money, and then only they will be able to pay the tax. So if they choose the second option, so they have to increase the production, and for that they use some strategies. first strategy was the plough agriculture, in which the alluvial soil it was turned with the help of iron tip plowshare, and it was done in the area where high rainfall was observed. But areas like Punjab and Rajasthan, which are semi-arid areas, it was not uh, uh, allowed to do this plough agriculture. Second was the introduction of transplantation, which increased the production of paddy. Now, what is this transplantation? Is when the paddy cultivation is done. It is done in the area where water is in plenty form. So the seeds were first broadcast, and when the saplings have grown, they are transplanted to waterlogged fields. These ensure a higher ratio of survival of saplings and higher yields. Similarly, for the areas of northeastern and central part of the subcontinent, which is having terrain, hoe agriculture was used. Similarly, some of the areas use irrigation through wells, tanks, and canals. All these things were there to increase the production of all the agriculture, but still few people were not able to get much money, or there were some differences in their status. This was because of the difference in the society. So some Buddhist tradition shows that there was a term of Gahapati which was used to designate people who are of the lower categories. The powerful people like large landholders and village headmen, they were the people who were in the first category, and they used to control all these people. Similarly, there is a Tamil literature, the Sangam text, which mentioned that the large owners, they were known as Velalar, and plowmen were known as Uzavar, and slaves were known as Adimai. So this is showing that there was some status differences between people. This difference can be because of the land they were accessing, the labor they were having under them, and whatever technologies they are using, so that there was difference between people's category. I hope you like this lecture. If you have any questions or doubts, you can comment them down. And if you want to get more videos like this, you can comment the type of video you want, and we'll try to make videos on them. I hope you like this video. I hope you like the content. Like, share, and subscribe. Think IES. We'll be coming back with the third part of this chapter. Till then, see you. Bye bye.